Hi, baby.
Is that what you use?
Oh my god.
No, you say hi, honey. What the hell? You ad-lib it? That you freestyle
I'm tired.
it? Switching it up. I mean, go ahead, but that's not.
Honey?
Hi, hey, honey.
Hi.
Hey, honey. Hi, honey. Hi.
You know why I do that? I do that because Belvally, a woman who worked at the Beth and Beyond, will be like, okay, honey. Like, it just stuck in my head for years. Ready? Shout out to Belvally. Ready? Ready?
Yes. Let's just start. What's up, man?
Why are we here?
Today we are going to be talking about loneliness, which I think is a big topic for right now because we already touched on all the COVID-19 stuff and like how people were cooped up and feeling out of that element and how people are feeling lonely and reevaluating things. But just in a general sense, I think like our culture itself is becoming more
Codependent. Is that where you were going with that?
well, yeah, sure. We're lonelier as a people now more than ever, even though we're more connected now than ever. But
Yeah.
like, are we actually connected?
Not
and
at
that's
all.
like the
internet.
talk. No,
Oh.
that's,
I'm
So
trying
you trying
to
to, like,
read your
finish my
mind.
sentences?
I know you don't like that.
it's not
so-
working.
And I also know you don't like that. I'm sorry.
Like, all right, so to frame the talk, we could bring up a couple of just in general, like what are the aspects of loneliness
Can I
that
talk
we
about
like
the kids?
see? Sure.
So like back
Sure.
back in the day,
Mm.
you would come home from school and you would drop your stuff and you would go play outside and your parents would tell you to come home before the street lights came on.
You're talking about the lack of kids.
What?
You're talking
Can
about
we
the fact
not
that
do this?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Can we not try? Because
Let me-
we're
yeah, let me
clearly
just-
not on the same page.
I'm over here, you're over there.
I'm
All right.
talking about the fact that years ago, kids used to play together outside. It was a thing where kids would go outside and they would play together and they would have to come home for dinner. And that was just like the culture of like outside. Like you would go outside. Kids used to play outside. And kids don't play outside anymore. Everything is inside video games, but they still play together. So it's like what you were saying where they're completely disconnected, but it's still connected where they're on social media and they are talking on Facebook and they are playing Xbox and they feel like they are spending time with their friends. But like growing up, me and Ariel used to ride our bikes everywhere. Like me and Ariel would go to the mall and we would walk around the mall with no money, or like even after school sometimes, like when I got out of school, my mom, she wasn't on some like, yo, come back before the lights are off, but like I did get an hour or two to kind of hang out and we were in the park, and it's not really like that anymore. Like Ava's not gonna go across the street and play with that girl because they're around the same age. And all right, just make sure you come back before dinner's ready. Like I don't know if times have just changed where people don't trust each other
So that's
anymore.
what I was just about to say. That I was about to say a lot of the times people say that's because nowadays more than ever there's more school shootings, there's more violence, there's more whatever, and that's the reason why people don't send their kids out to play in the street, because like you send your kid out in the street, there's psychos out there, there's bombings, there's shootings.
Don't you think kids were getting took in way more in the 80s and the 90s?
Yeah, and that's what the statistics would say also.
Yeah.
But for some reason, people feel like, no, it's happening now more than ever. Right now, there's
because
killers
of the
and
media,
murder.
because you know way more
Because
about
we're
it
more
now.
connected now,
Mhm.
media-wise. We can see it. We load up our phone. My phone
Every
blares
An Amber Alert every single time.
Yeah, like every time there's an Amber Alert, like our phones go off, the whole thing is lit up. Like even at work, you just hear 50 phones going off, Amber Alert at the same time.
Yeah, so it makes it seem like it's
now
like
we
this
know
trend.
Kids are getting taken because we know the kids are getting tooken because our phones are going off. In the 80s, they were getting tooken by the bunches.
You know, but seriously, like
you wouldn't know unless. That's not funny. I'm sorry. I don't know why. That was a nervous laugh.
You just don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do with my body. Kids were being taken in the 80s.
Taken, yeah.
By the bunches.
Serial killers were like trending back then.
They were going to Target and just camping in the parking lot and taking 3 or 4 or 5 women a day, children a day, you know what I mean? Like, they were taking busfuls, I'm sure, like, you know, pretend to be a bus driver and just disappear with a bus full of kids. But you wouldn't know that stuff unless, because that was all local. That was your local media.
Yeah.
That was your local TV state. Like, you didn't get global news, national statistics.
So in an attempt to protect our children, we kind of stopped letting them go outside as much, is your point. And which I completely agree. You kind of kept them in the house, and it's more of like, organized play dates, and you know, like I'm gonna drop you off and I'm gonna pick you up, and kids definitely lost their freedom. And then, you know, the internet started to take off. That was a way for children to, or like, you know, young adults to feel more connected because they weren't allowed to be connected so much. So like, I know when I got my first laptop, that was how I stayed connected with my friends. When I got my first cell phone, is how I stayed connected with my friends in junior high school on AIM and on MySpace and that kind of thing. So like social media really started to climb during our time as young teenagers, I want to say.
Yeah. But like, just that so there's an oxymoron which we just like talked about where it's like we're more connected now than ever.
Yeah.
But we're so distant now than ever because of it. Because my view is I feel like we're choosing to be distant from each other because we know so much about other people.
Yeah.
And
I feel like I get my daily dose of everybody all the time because I'm on social media and I'm on Snapchat and social media and Snapchat.
so you on social media, but then you also on Snapchat.
I be snapping.
Yeah.
No, like
okay.
I just feel like I do like I feel like I keep in touch with all of my friends, even though I don't keep in touch with all of my friends. You know what I mean? Like, I know so much about what's going on in people's lives.
That you don't feel the need to pick up the phone and call them. Like, hey, what'd you do today? You saw what they did
Like, I know who's pregnant.
You know who was at the barbecue.
And I know who was at the barbecue, and I know who just got a new job because I'm on social media, and people put their business on social media, so I don't feel the need to constantly reach out. But at the same time, the downside to all of this is that we are lonelier than ever.
You're not actually talking to anybody face to face. Like, you read their posts or whatever, you feel like, oh yeah, oh man, that party was so crazy. Mm-hmm. So you don't reach out and ask her how was the party because you saw the snaps or whatever that it was crazy.
Do you feel like social media has conditioned us to just become lonelier and like be okay with it, or do you think people are like wishing we can go back to the older days? I guess it depends on the age. But I want to know what you think.
Yeah, I was just about to say it depends on. I think different people feel different things. Like
what? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Different people feel different things, but I mean like different.
You're killing it today.
I'm coming with the actual factual stuff. You don't even know. No, I feel like different demographics and different age groups and different stuff feel different ways about it. Yeah. I think the kids like the Gen Z. They don't care.
I think Ava's looking out her window right now with her hand.
Man, I wish I could be out there in the sand lot. She don't give a crap. She's in her room and she's good just getting it off of YouTube and then going to school and getting it from her friends.
And playing Roblox with them and like that's fine for her. And like same thing with your brother.
Great, yeah.
You think Jamie's just like, man, I wish I could go kick a can.
No,
like
you don't
he's having the time of his life playing his video games with his friends.
You know, some older person said to me the other day, he was just like, man, I wish we could get back to the good old days when you just heard kids in the street playing. Like, you know, there are no more kids in the street playing. I was just like, yeah, it's sad times, you know, whatever. And then we went on, and then eventually he was just like, yeah, because me and my friends, we used to be out there, man. We used to set fires to the abandoned cars in the junkyard. Yeah. And I'm just like,
Kill cats. Like, yeah. The good old days. Get out of my store, you psycho.
They were being like crazy because they were out there just out on their own. But like, but yeah, different people are feeling different ways with it. But like,
do you think we're conditioned to accept this loneliness?
So I think that our culture is being shaped by this strange oxymoron that we're talking about. Like you see it in our media, like in our movies. The monster is isolation. That's our favorite current like horror movie monster. If you think about it, like
to be alone.
Think about the movies we've seen, like the scary Room or
what do you mean? Like just
damn, I had it.
Just
I
like
lost
being
it.
completely alone.
Being alone and being like disconnected from people, like in a emotional kind of sense. Like I feel like we get a lot of emotional horror now.
Think of any of those movies we like where it's just like a one scene kind of like, what's that called?
Yeah,
like Saw.
Cam,
like all the Saws.
Well, Cube and Saw are like older, and those are more like
physical isolation.
It's more like those are the gore horror kind of stuff. It's all about the gore, like blood.
Gotcha. Which means stuff like Cam, where she
stuff
was
like
just
Cam.
in it by herself.
Nothing even happened to her in Cam. There was no ghost in Cam. There was no monster in Cam.
Yeah.
There was.
By the way, guys,
internet was messing with her.
Just real quick, just because we really, really like Cam. Cam is streaming on Netflix right now.
Oh, watch that movie.
Cam is an awesome movie. It's about a webcam girl and just basically like what she goes through.
Fire.
We should do an entire.
Oh my god.
We should do something
because
on Cam.
that movie. Just to get off topic for a little bit, it's like that's a secret. It's like it's one of those things where there's a lot more under the surface if you think about it. Maybe not intentional. I don't know how the director or the writer like felt about it when they were making it. But like I feel like whoever wrote that, whoever directed that, like actually meant to put those themes in there because it's low key like a feminist movie about like.
We'll get into Cam another day.
That's a good one.
But just in general though, like yes, loneliness is a huge part of our everyday lives. Not you and I, but just like our as a community.
Yeah.
But I
even
think
them, we said the major theme in that they should have stuck to the scary part was the alone part, the lonely family moving in. Like that's the stuff that resonated with us because like that's what we're all feeling right now.
Yeah.
That loneliness, that like you know, like I have all these people and no one gets me kind of thing. Yeah. That's why, like I said, our culture is being shaped by it, where people gravitate towards groups that like understand them better, like that'll mimic the things that they say. That's how like, you know, these really toxic like incels and like, you know, those Facebook groups get started where it's like people are looking for like other people that think exactly like me because they feel like the people around me are not close to me. So like, let me find someone out there in Australia that thinks exactly the way I do, and I'm gonna get a closeness with that person.
Like these weird Reddit groups that you talk about all the time.
Yeah, I mean, didn't we just see something? I think it was that Monster show on Netflix, where the guy.
What's that called, real quick? Because that's a good one.
I think it's called Monster.
Monster Inside.
Monster something. But
Monster Inside My Head by Eminem.
No.
Monster Inside Me.
Monster Inside Me.
Monsterland. Sorry.
Monsterland. Yes. Monster Inside Me?
Something popped up. So Monsters.
Monsterland. There's that episode with the.
It's on Hulu, by the way.
With the group that he joins, the kid.
Yeah.
That
Damn. Totally forgot about.
Yeah,
Monster.
that was a good one too.
Yeah,
but again, the monster in that is isolation and loneliness. He turns to this group that like they're giving him. You know, they think the way he does and they're believing him when no one around him is believing him and like helping him deal with this thing that he's going through.
Yeah. He ends up finding. Okay, so just real quick, because this is actually stuff that we want you guys to look into versus them. So for Monsterland, Monsterland is an anthropology.
Anthology.
It's an anthology where every episode is different. And so for this particular episode that we really liked, it was about a kid, and basically his mom was going through like a couple of health issues, and he felt really alone. He's definitely
But then
the
there's
loner.
a shadow. There's a
No,
shadow
don't give him all that. No,
monster. No, that's the thing of the episode. There's
Oh,
a
yeah,
shadow
there's-
monster in his house
In
that
his
he has
house.
to deal with.
He has to deal with
So
the
he
shadow
turns
monster.
to like a Reddit group
Yeah.
on like shadow monsters to try to help him figure out what's going
Yeah,
on.
so because he's alone, because he's a loner in high school, because his mom is going through like health problems, he basically finds people who make him feel better about himself through
On
the
the
internet. And they make him, feel better. They make him feel like a little bit less alone
And empowered.
And
Like,
empowered.
He feels like, yo, I know
And he-
how to deal with this.
Yeah, he
thing.
feels like he has backup all of a sudden, even though he really doesn't know these people at all. And it just goes to show that, like, loneliness can make you do a lot of crazy things.
That's
I
what-
mean, it's this weird thing where, like, social media has kind of conditioned us to be a little bit more alone. But we aren't alone. We're tricking our brains that we're physically alone, but we're actually spending time with. I feel like I spend time with my friends every day, even though I don't get to see them.
Yeah.
So like that's not really true loneliness because you still have social media. But if you take somebody who is the outcast in high school and is not on social media and has no friends and has nobody, then things like Columbine happen. Where, you know what I mean? They like think about Columbine for a second. There was two loners that had absolutely nothing that found friendship and partnership within each other, and then they did something absolutely crazy.
You know what's wild crazy about what you just said?
What?
You just brought it completely full circle to what we were talking about, where it's like people feel like there's more school shootings now than ever. You
People
said
are
the
lonelier.
Columbine thing happened because
There was no
they were
social
so
media back
lonely,
then. They
but
were
they got
actually
together.
alone. Yeah.
and then they found something in each other and they were bouncing these crazy ideas off of each other and they did something crazy
Yeah.
as a result of it.
Yeah.
People are getting that even more now. These
Yeah.
incel kids are like going on the internet and
What is
finding
incel?
it's like involuntary celibate. It's like a group of
Oh, that choose to be alone? Oh, no,
No.
that don't involuntary.
involuntary
So they're
celibate. So
forced to
they
be
feel
alone.
like they're forced to be alone because women don't like them
Okay.
because of like their toxic beliefs that
Okay.
like
I've never heard that. term.
usually they think like, women owe me sex. You know what I mean? Like if I buy a woman a drink and she walks out, she's
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like like nice guys finish last. Like
Okay.
those
So
dudes.
it's like a group of like.
it's a group of nice guys.
Of like, woe is me.
Yeah. And then so they take that's
And they join together and they probably ramp each other up
Oh,
and
yeah.
say disgusting things
Yeah.
about women.
all day.
Yeah, that's how. I mean, it's easier to find people now through the internet to
Way
kind
easier.
of believe in the same toxic things that you believe in.
And because you don't get that from your inner circle, your friend group, your family, your mom looks at you crazy, the people in school don't get it, you sit alone, those connections that you make with these people that share these beliefs with you, you're like, oh my God, match made in heaven, somebody finally gets me. Like this is my soulmate. This is the group I was supposed to be in from the day I was born. So like
Yeah.
those connections matter more than anything else in the world to them.
Yeah.
Like and yeah, whatever they say, whatever the group thinks, like that's me. Like
Yeah.
I'm in this group. I was born for this group.
Yeah.
It's like that
You know what the
loneliness forces people into making connect this. It's like
It's
so
this
crazy.
weird, like, but the craziest part about all of that is that, like, none of these connections are genuine, or not genuine, I should say. None of these connections are unique in the sense of the internet. You can find,
Anybody.
I can, like, if I'm obsessed with black pens and I love them so much and I don't want to ever marry anybody, like, I just want the other half of my bed to just be black pens. If I search hard enough, I will find plenty of people that are like,
Not even hard
Finally.
enough. I'm sure there's a Reddit for it.
yeah, a Reddit, or I could just Google it and find weird
Just
websites.
Google- there's a forum somewhere for that. Like
it's just like that's what the internet does, is that it brings like people that would not normally find each other together. So it kind of makes people feel a little bit less lonely. But Columbine happened because there wasn't social media. They were literally alone. And when people are literally alone, it can bring you to do a lot of crazy things. Yes, we are physically alone, but with social media, it kind of fills in that void.
I think they're literally alone too.
Who?
People who only get their dose of like social interaction from social
But
media.
there's people that don't get any social interaction at all.
Okay.
That's what I mean. So like people like Columbine, people like the girl in the room, or like the kid in Monsterland, or like Midsummer. Like these are people that are actually literally have nobody
Physically, and then
physically, and
they
then
get online and they find those people though.
Yes, eventually, but what I mean is like the people that we're talking about don't ever find anybody.
Mm.
Like Columbine, could they have gone online? Well, the times were different, but like in room, there was no going online because she literally lived.
She was a kid.
She lived in a room. That's what I mean. So
Yeah.
like, when you're stuck to your own devices and you're stuck in your own head, it brings you to do crazy things. Which is why we were trying to lead this into Midsummer anyway. If you want to take the lead on that.
Oh, I mean, yeah. So like, Midsummer is the movie that we picked. That's like really exemplifies like everything that we're talking about in the sense of like she's alone because she lost her parents and she's taken to a different country, so she's alone in that sense, like alone away from her culture.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's with this guy, but like they've been having friction, and like I think he's on the verge of breaking up with her in the beginning of the movie, like, so she's alone in that aspect, and just like all these different things of loneliness. And then there's that tribe that have like these really weird rituals that from outside looking in, it's like no one in their right mind would do these things. No one in their right mind would join them. It's a completely different culture. It's crazy. They're murdering people, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like she wanted to be a part of that, just to be a part of something.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, and that's another big movie that like.
Yeah, so Midsummer is currently streaming on Amazon Prime. It's a movie that Prince and I watched, and then we got home from work the next day. We watched it again,
right away.
And then the next day we were talking about it, and we were telling people at work about it. I remember I told John about it, and he texted me and was like, "That's the craziest movie I've ever seen."
Is it scary?
Absolutely not.
So Midsummer is just a really good example of how when someone is isolated, the lengths that they'll go to find community.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the entire theme of that movie is. So like all of these movies, like Cam, what did we say, Room, we said the Monsterland series on Hulu, and then Midsummer, they're just all good representations of like just loneliness.
Yeah.
And how everybody's kind of different and how they struggle with loneliness. Like me, I'm a person who, I've had social media since my mom let me have a MySpace in junior high school. I had a Zanga first. Do you remember Zanga?
No.
Like Xanga?
No.
You think that guy?
They ain't here.
Think-
They heard
Oh. He's a rapid.
He's a rap.
No, so I've had social media since I was allowed to have social media, and I've never been off of social media. Even if I told myself I was having a social media cleanse, like I've always had social media. And it's not that I feel like I need it, but it does make me feel more connected to people so that I don't have to speak to them on an everyday basis. That's my personality type, is that I can be a social butterfly, or like in a physical space, I am a social butterfly. I do like to talk and laugh and that kind of thing. But like when I'm not in a social space, I'm a homebody.
Yeah.
And I prefer to be alone and to be alone with you. But like you are my complete opposite.
Completely, yeah. Like I never had a social media, never needed it.
I remember
just
because when I Googled you, when we first started dating, I was like, that can't be his name, because I could not find anything on you.
Yeah, never had a Facebook, never had a whatever. I just recently made the Instagram. I don't even post on it. It's terrible. Like, it's just I think I'm in the latter camp where it's like I feel like because. I feel like I'm in the latter camp. Like I feel like because I said it again because you,
I heard
got
you.
up.
I don't know what
if
that
your
means.
butt cheeks are gonna be
Oh
okay.
my God, no! You're a psycho. Go ahead. This is real life. If I gotta peek and look at the baby real quick,
Okay.
I gotta peek and look at the baby.
All right.
If they gotta peek and look at my ass real quick,
No,
then
I'm like, I feel like I'm in the latter camp because I don't have social media because I see what it does to people, and like I just don't.
you just don't want to be a part of it.
I just don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Like I see the attention grabbing, like attention seeking that people
behavior.
do. Like I see the like constant need to check it, and like
Yeah.
the gamification of like, oh man, I gotta get all these likes, I gotta get all this attention, and I think it's like
That's something that's appealing to you.
Yeah.
But just in general, that's your entire personality type. Like, if we go to a party and you look around and things are happening that you don't like, you'll be like, okay. And then you're
I'm
ready
headed
to go. So, like, that's just your whole personality
I'm
type.
gonna take off.
Like, even now, like, you go on my Facebook page to be like, hey, I wonder what's going on with so-and-so. Can I grab him?
Yeah. He is getting this.
Why you let me do a video and freaking
So anyway,
poom pooms?
what I was saying was, like, I don't feel a need to be on social media, but I'm not lonely personally because I have such a strong inner, like, like I get closeness
Everything
from people in my everyday life.
Yeah.
So I don't need to seek it out from anybody outside, like anybody on social media.
I
like,
don't either though.
I mean, you just like it.
I just like it just to like it, but I'm not somebody who's on it constantly. Like if you go to my Instagram, I mean, I post
because
obviously
you also
about
get that what you need.
I got
from,
enough, yeah.
From what you get, like, from your friends and your family.
I'm the type of person where like you and I can talk once a year, and I won't take offense to that. You know what I mean? Like I have best friends that I've had since junior high school, where we talk just on major holidays or if something is going on, and I don't ever feel like Lauren doesn't care about me because she never asks me how I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like Lauren, like Tania, like these are friends that I have that I can just be like, hope all is well, love you too, and like that's, you know, like that's perfectly fine. So I don't know, I feel like I'm an in-between. Like I feel like I totally get why you are the way you are, because it's appealing, and you know that. Like as we've been together and as I've gotten older, I've leaned more towards your view of social media and not constantly needing to like be on it all day long and check my phone all day long, and like I feel like I don't even know where my phone is half the time anymore.
But like at the end of the day, regardless of if I have a social media personally, like it's affected. I'm affected by it in the media that we watch.
Yeah.
Like the news that we get is skewed a certain way. Like news is so partisan these days. Republican and Democrat news. Like you got your Republican news, you got your Democrat news, you got your liberal news, you got your conservative news, and it's like news used to just be news back in the day.
Depending
so
on what
it's
channel
like,
you want to watch, is like what kind of opinion.
But now, like,
social media is
I mean, get me started. But like
remember when social media was making it seem like people in the airlines were just beating people? You remember that?
Oh, that's coming back around.
Oh, is it?
Because the woman was duct taped to the.
Did you see that? She tried to open up the emergency.
Oh my god! Yeah, just everything's shaped by like
social media.
like groups these days, because everyone wants to be a part of a group because like we're just so scared to be alone these days. It's crazy, but.
I don't feel alone. I may not see my friends every day, I may not speak to my friends every day, but they all know that it's all love, and I feel like I always end it in a corny way, but as long as I have you, I don't feel lonely. I'm somebody who, I feel like growing up, me being an only child, I just feel like I was always afraid of being lonely, even though I really never was. Like I always had my parents, I always had my cousins, but I never wanted to be alone, you know? Not that I ever was, but I was always afraid that I would be. And like I just always struggled with that. Like I hope I'm never alone, you know? And I never was. And now I have you, and
never will be ever again. Son. You're not going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere.
I'm not going. You said I'm not going nowhere. You're not gonna let me leave.
Nah.
Okay, Ike.
It's gonna be a room for real, not a room to talk.
Oh my god.